The phone rang at 8:12 a.m. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Sunday mornings were usually quiet after a night like that, after being told to leave your own house with witnesses and a glass of untouched wine still sweating on the table. I answered anyway. The woman on the line spoke calmly, too calmly. She said the name of the mortgage company first, then the loan number, then my name. She asked if I was aware that a $780,000 mortgage transfer request had been submitted. Overnight, digitally signed, notarized and flagged as urgent. I stared at the hotel ceiling. I said nothing. She hesitated, then asked if I was still the legal holder of the property. That's when I smiled. The night before replayed itself in fragments. Sunday dinner, roast chicken, polite laughter stretched too thin. My wife didn't look at me when she said it. Leave your keys and get out. Her voice was steady, practiced. This house belongs to me and my new husband now. I remember the clink of cutlery stopping mid-air. My mother-in-law nodded, slowly, as if confirming a diagnosis. No shouting, no explanation, just expectation. They were already done with me. I placed the keys on the table, carefully, one by one. Metal on wood sounded louder than it should have. I walked out without a word. That silence followed me all night. I had known something was wrong long before that dinner. Not evidence, not proof, just gaps. Her phone face down. Late yoga classes. A new calm that didn't include me. She stopped asking questions, stopped arguing, stopped caring whether I noticed. That kind of emotional absence doesn't happen by accident. Someone had replaced me. I didn't confront her. I watched. I listened. I remembered something she forgot. I had paid the down payment. Every renovation, every emergency payment when her freelance work came up short. The house wasn't just a home. It was leverage. Back on the phone, the woman cleared her throat. Sir, the transfer was signed using a power of attorney dated 3 months ago. 3 months. Interesting. I thanked her, told her I'd call back. Then I sat on the edge of the bed and let the truth settle. They hadn't just betrayed me. They'd rushed, and rushed people make mistakes. I opened my laptop. Not to panic, not to plead, to verify. Because if they thought I'd left that house powerless, they misunderstood me completely. I didn't go back to the house. That was the first thing they expected me to do. Beg, argue, threaten. Men like me are supposed to unravel loudly. Instead, I booked 2 more nights at the hotel and ordered room service I didn't touch. I spent my time reading documents. The power of attorney was real. Her signature was real. But the timing was wrong. 3 months ago, she'd been on a girls' retreat. No reception, no calls. I remembered because my mother had gone into surgery that week, and I handled it alone. People don't sign legal documents while hiking in the mountains. I pulled bank records next. There it was, a wire transfer, 6 figures, from an account I didn't recognize. The beneficiary name made my jaw tighten. A man I'd met once, introduced as a family friend. Too confident, too familiar with my wife's laugh. Her new husband. They hadn't just fallen in love. They'd planned. I stayed calm, externally. Inside, my thoughts moved like chess pieces sliding into position. I contacted the notary listed on the document. Left a voicemail. Then another. By evening, she called back, nervous. She remembered my wife. But she didn't remember me. Because I wasn't there. The power of attorney had been signed with a witness present. Just one. My mother-in-law. Of course. I requested security footage from the notary's office. Legal, right? Proper channels. I waited. That night, I dreamed of keys on a table. Metal. Cold. Final. When the footage arrived, I didn't watch it immediately. I already knew what I'd see. 2 women. One smiling, one nodding. No husband. No consent. Forgery doesn't scream. It whispers. The next morning, I answered the mortgage company's call again. This time, I spoke slowly. I told them the transfer was fraudulent. I told them I'd be filing a report. I told them to freeze everything. There was a pause. Then urgency. Then silence. I imagined Sunday dinner replaying itself in their minds. Only this time, the chairs were empty. I didn't confront my wife. Not yet. I sent one message. Just one line. I hope you slept well. She replied instantly. Why? I stared at the screen. Because she already felt it. The shift. The imbalance. Control doesn't announce itself. It just changes hands. The evidence arrived at 3:47 p.m. A secure email. Encrypted. Clinical. I closed the curtains before opening it. Not out of fear, out of respect for what was about to die. The video was short. Too short. My wife sat at the notary's desk, smiling the way she used to smile at me when she wanted something signed without questions. My mother-in-law sat beside her, hand on her arm, guiding, approving. No lawyer present, no husband present, just pressure disguised as family. The timestamp burned into the corner of the screen. 3 months ago. The same hour my mother was in surgery. I didn't pause the video, didn't rewind. I didn't need to. Some truths don't require repetition. That evening, I drove past the house. Didn't stop. Lights were on, music playing. He was already there, living in my space, sleeping in my bed. Believing paperwork had erased me. I parked across the street and watched silhouettes move behind the curtains. They looked relaxed. People always do when they think the ground beneath them is solid. The mortgage company called again. This time, their tone had changed. Formal. Careful. They confirmed what I already knew. The transfer was void. The loan was frozen. An investigation had begun. Any attempt to sell, refinance, or claim ownership would now trigger legal action. I thanked them, and then I made my move. I invited them to dinner. Sunday. Same time. Same table. I didn't explain why. I didn't have to. My wife hesitated, then agreed. Control had taught her confidence. That was her mistake. When they arrived, I stood. Calm. Polite. My mother-in-law wouldn't meet my eyes. He did. Extended his hand. I didn't take it. We sat. The table felt smaller this time. I slid a folder across the wood. No words, just paper. My wife opened it. Her breath caught. Once, sharp. The color drained slowly, like ink bleeding from a page. She looked at her mother. Her mother looked at me. For the first time, she didn't nod. It's frozen, I said quietly. No anger, no satisfaction. Just fact. The house, the accounts, everything. He laughed, nervous. I let him. Then I added, and the power of attorney? Forgery. Silence collapsed inward. I watched their faces rearrange themselves. Fear doesn't explode. It tightens. I stood, pushed my chair in. I left my keys, I said. But I never left ownership. I walked out before anyone could speak. Some endings don't need witnesses. I didn't hear from them that night. That silence was louder than any apology. The next morning, my wife called. Once, then again, then 12 times in a row. I let the phone vibrate on the table while I poured coffee I didn't plan to drink. When I finally answered, I didn't say her name. She cried immediately. Not the loud kind, the controlled kind. The kind meant to trigger memory. She said it was a misunderstanding, that her mother handled the paperwork, that she never meant to hurt me. I listened, carefully. Then I asked one question. Did you love him before you told me to leave? Silence. That was my answer. By noon, her new husband called. His voice was sharp, defensive. He threatened lawyers, court, public embarrassment. I let him finish. Then I told him something he didn't know. The mortgage wasn't the only thing tied to my name. The renovations, my company, the furniture, corporate assets, even the gift account they'd wired money from. Joint, frozen now. He hung up without saying goodbye. My mother-in-law showed up at the hotel that evening. Alone. She looked older, smaller. She said family shouldn't destroy each other like this. I asked her why she nodded. She didn't answer. I told her the investigation would decide intent. I watched her understand what that meant. No yelling, just gravity. I moved my things out while they weren't home. Not furniture, documents, photographs. Proof of timelines they forgot existed. I left the house exactly as it was, because nothing unsettles people more than losing control in familiar spaces. A week later, the mortgage company called one last time. The loan was reinstated, in my name only. The power of attorney was void. The investigation had escalated. I thanked them, Then I drove past the house one final time. For sale sign in the yard. Her car gone. Lights off. Empty. I didn't feel victorious. I felt clean. Betrayal doesn't always end in rage. Sometimes it ends in clarity. They wanted me gone. They just underestimated what I took with me. The keys were never the power. Knowing when to walk away. That was